Hi guys, welcome back to Chess the Matthew. So on this video, I will show you my short game on the Larsen opening. So the said opening start with the move b3. The idea of this b3 move is to vacate this b2 square for the dark squared bishop of white. So that for example, if this bishop will be developed on this square on the b2, then it will control now the long dark square diagonal on the board. So here my opponent plays the move e5, trying to control the center and open up some lines for his bishop so that he can develop his bishop to a gold square. And here I play the move bishop to b2, in which after bishop to b2, then it attacks now the undefended pawn on e5. So here my opponent plays the move knight to c6, defending his pawn. And here I play the move c4. We shall see that after c4, it controls the center on d5 with a tandem with the bishop on d2 that also control the center with d4 and e5. And here my opponent again develop a piece and plays the move knight to f6. So the idea of knight to f6 is to control the center and also vacating the square so that in the future my opponent can castle on the king side. So here I try to copycat some moves with knight to f3 also with the same idea. After knight to f3, it controls the center and also vacate the g1 square so that I can also castle in the future after these squares will be vacate for my king on e1. So here my opponent attack my knight on the f3 and plays e4. So after e4, it attacks my knight on f3. So the pawn is equal to 1 while the knight is equal to 3. So I automatically put my knight on a safe square on the d4. So after knight to d4, we shall see that it was guarded by my bishop. And although my opponent can capture my knight, but it doesn't matter because I can equalize the exchanges with my bishop on the b2. And here my opponent plays the move bishop to c4, a developing move, and also vacating this square so that his king can castle now in the future on the king side, and also giving some 2 versus 1 on the knight to d4. So on this position, I was obliged now to save my knight because it was attacked by 2 and only have 1 defender. So here I play the move knight to f5. So the idea of knight to f5 is to put my knight into a safe square and also attacking this independent pawn on g7. So here the black has 2 choices, whether he will move his g7 on g6 so that it can no longer be captured, or even go for a latter move, which is to play the move castling, because after castling it gives now a protection on his g7 with his king. So here again I play the move e3. The idea of e3 is to develop a bishop to vacate the f1 square so that I can also castle on the king side and put my king into safety. But here my opponent plays the move d5. So the idea of d5 is to control the center with his pawns and also opening some diagonal that also attack my undefended knight on f5 with his bishop to c8. But here I go for c takes d5 because after c takes d5, it also attacks his knight. So for example, if the black will capture my knight, then I can also recapture with d takes to c6. And then for example, for the record, after this capture and then d takes c6 and b takes c6, although I am a pawn down, but this pawn was a weak structure, so I can actually put some pile attack with rook and queen to pressure the c file, and later on trying to regain my deficit pawn on the c6. So here after, for example, I play the move c takes to d5, my opponent sidestep that line and go for the move the knight takes d5. So after knight takes to d5, we shall see on this position that the material was balanced, but after knight takes d5, it allows now for me to play the move queen to g4. So we shall see after queen to g4, it has 3 attackers with a threat to checkmate in the future. So here my opponent panic and play the move g6, but Still, I win in just 10 moves after knight h6 checkmate. It was checkmate because this knight has no cover to the check on the king, and the black king can no longer escape the check because he was also imprisoned with his own army, so he cannot cover the check, he cannot capture the checking pieces, he cannot escape. So it is already now a checkmate. So just a recap, in just 10 moves I win in the Larsen opening after b3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to subscribe.